in the first video of this series, we replay our first log using the export command. And if we go back there, and if we were to repeat that command, we can do it as many times as we want, and we will see that the timestamp and all that matches nicely. We see all the events coming and different timestamps in here. All that is good. One thing that I forgot to mention is that you don't have to have a separate Linux system to do this. You can actually go into the terminal, SSH into the QRadar box, and do this as well. And now I prefer to do it from a separate machine that tests the connectivity and all that, but again, you don't have to. And you can go into any one of those events. Let me pause it here and see that they have been nicely parsed. We see the parts extracted in here, and if we want to identify this particular event, we have the QID, so we can write a rule that checks for that QID and all that good stuff, right? Now let's actually go into PFH node and grab this one that is going to do a authentication message, but when the user log in with a password, but the random command is going to be used to log in with a random port. So I already modified that in here, and here we are indicating that the user log in with root. Notice that that's the port that was randomly generated. If we go to the log activity tab, and I had it on pause, so maybe, and I need to go back to the last 5 minutes or so. Yeah, and here we see it, that the guy log in on root on that port, and you can manipulate the IP address, the source IP. I mean, I think it is a lot more flexible than having to be editing a file and rerunning the log run, right? Again, for once, if you're going to do it only once, log run is good enough. If you're going to be doing this often, I'm sure that by now you're beginning to appreciate the flexibility that this brings. And by the way, I'm making this a little bit more complex than it needs to be, but I think it's more flexible. I don't even have to use the export command in here because let's say the good thing about the export is that you can generate a random piece and add it in there, but you can just do the echo, and that's all you need to do. But of course, in here you don't have that random port, so I'm going to put, instead of the port here being random, I'm going to make it 443, and well, that echo is just to show it in here, so I can even simplify this further by not issuing the last part that shows you the port being used. Let me see if I did this right. And here you have it, root login with the port being fixed now to 443. So it can even be simpler that without using the export. I'm sure you noticed that we are sending this via UDP, and we can see this actually in here. Right? We're doing a redirect of that echo or the export or whatever it is into UDP. But if we want to do it via TCP/IP instead, what you can do is actually you can eliminate the redirect and then instead do a pipe into the net command, and then specify the port on a space. See if I did that right. And here we see it. Let me pause it in here, and we see that it got here by virtue of using TCP instead of UDP. A lot of flexibility here. So I mentioned before that this trick with echo also works with Windows, right? And here's a partial way of doing it, and I've been playing here, and I'll explain why these stores are there. So if we take any look at a Windows event, I have this already. These are real events coming in my machine. You can go here on the actual payload and grab the entire event. Now, there is something that you have to be very careful on Windows event, is that these delimiters are really tabs. They're not spaces. So I grabbed it, put it into my editor in here, and I'm using BBEdit. If I do view hidden characters, you see that triangle there that denotes the presence of a tab, and the dot denotes the presence of a space. Space is, as you know, ASCII 20, and tabs are ASCII hex 9. So what you need to do for this to work is that you need to replace every one of those tabs by -T and use the echo command with the option E. And that's what I actually did in here. And you can actually find it in your editor. I mean, this depends on the editor. I did it with this option, put in the hex character 9, and it finds all of them. And then I went ahead and replaced them. So if I grab that line in there and go into my, well, let me first set this in here and go real time, ready to catch any event. Let me go to my Linux box. Let me clear the screen and paste that with all those tabs. As you can see, I got the event in here parsed and formatted. In fact, we can see it, and it came exactly as if it had come when it did from the actual machine. We can see everything nicely parsed in here. I'm going to keep this video short. I'm going to consult with PFH. There is an easier way of actually using the echo with the Windows event, but this is a way of showing that this method works with Windows events as well.